All right, everybody. Welcome back to Comics Only, the only podcast where comedians talk with other comedians about comedy. Woo. My guest today is comedian, writer, and podcaster Sarah Steiner. Maybe new podcaster.
Yeah, now I am.
I call everybody comedian and writer because on like some level you have to write.
You have to.
Like, even if you're one of those people that are like, I only write on stage and I just riff.
No.
And it's like, that's sort of kind of still writing. You're coming up with words.
Well, if you repeat the same thing more than once, you're a writer. That's how that works. You've written that joke, even if it's just not on pen and paper or in your phone anywhere.
Yeah. And everybody has to, somewhat. Like,
yes.
Some of us more than others. And, like, some people are good about, like, recycling jokes. So that, like, you don't necessarily hear the same jokes all the time, but they are jokes they've done before.
Right, yeah.
I was just talking to somebody about this. It's like always a little weird when you see a comic and they're never doing the same joke.
Yeah.
It's like always doing the same joke and never doing the same joke are equally bad.
I feel like you have to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But that's
they're equally bad.
Yeah.
No, I think so.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing comedy now? About
just
a
under
year?
a year, yeah. Just under a year.
That's what I thought. No. It's good. That's kind of the whole point of this podcast is to like hopefully get insight from all levels, from people who've just started, people who've been doing it like 30 years. And everything in between. Because, like, sometimes the advice that somebody who's been doing comedy 20 years gives you isn't really that helpful. Sometimes it's, like, helpful to figure out, like, someone who's, like, a few months ahead of you is more helpful.
Yeah. I recently had someone who's been doing it a long time tell me that I shouldn't say that's stupid after I tell a joke, but that's my voice, and that's how that joke was written.
Yeah.
So it's like, I understand that that's the old school is like, don't discredit yourself on stage, I guess.
But like self-deprecacy, I don't know how to say that. Being self-deprecating has always been part of comedy. I don't know how words work.
English is a hard language.
Sometimes.
Let's just be clear.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been opening with this a really dumb joke and then literally warning the crowd. Just
I know,
that's what my set's going to be like. It's only jokes that dumb. So like, I hope you get on board. So I obviously don't believe in that. And I like really love that joke. So
yeah, no, I like that joke.
But
I've heard you do that one.
Yeah, and I don't like when comedians pretend like we're so highbrow and like we're such artists. It's like, dude, half of us are going on shit face. The other half are high out of their minds. It's
and then
not.
There's me who's sober.
It's like, it's just kind of like, I get, like, I also don't want to take away. It is an art, and it's fun, and it's hard. But, like, when people get too, like, intellectual about it, it's just annoying.
Yeah, I get it.
It's like, just make the crowd laugh. Even, like, all this shit with, like, the competitions. I really wish there was a competition that was just, like, a box that measured the amount of noise in the room. Well, and whoever made it loudest in the room, because in theory, that's laughter.
Yeah.
Like,
well, then you'd have
unless somebody's getting like only just like a ton of applause. But we'd know, we'd know that was bullshit.
The problem with that is that then people would pad the rooms with their friends. And, your friends
that's
are
always going to happen to some
I hate
extent.
That shit.
Yeah, there's no way to like
competition so much.
Yeah, Sarah, you should just have more friends.
Yeah, I guess I just need to make more friends. Here's the problem: all my friends are also comedians. Mm-hmm. So when I'm like, I need your support at New Phases, they're like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. No, I know comedians aren't going to show up.
Yeah, we're the worst.
And you can't really expect
No, and I don't.
But I have the same problem because I moved here doing comedy. So like literally almost everybody I've met here is at least comedy adjacent. Yeah.
Ew.
I have some things I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay,
you may be tired of talking about, or like, I don't know. How do you think, just like from your perspective so far, the experience of doing comedy as a woman is different from doing it as a man?
The pool is a lot smaller for women comedians. Like, I do think, not to discredit myself because I don't want to do that, but like, I do get a lot of stage time right now. And I do think that's partially because I'm a woman, because, people are always looking for that, the diversity higher.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's that. The other thing is that I get a lot of men who want to explain to me how to do comedy in my voice. And I'm like, that's cool for you, but if I get up there and go dicks and farts and piss, it doesn't come off the same way as if you get up there and do dicks and farts and piss. You know, it's just it's a lot of, I don't want to use the word mansplaining, but there is a lot of that. There's a lot of, I think less with me because of who I am as a person in general. They don't come up to me as much and be like, "Oh, we should write together." Like, I don't get that as much as some of the other female comedians do.
Like,
the young hot girls.
Melody.
Yeah, Melody and Jocelyn. Yeah, Melody and Jocelyn specifically. I can think of the young pretty girls shout out to my girls. I know that they get like hit on a lot.
I'm sure it's so obnoxious.
It's gross. I've been there with them, and it's funny. Also, being older and being a mother, it's like I see it coming from a mile. I can see it. I see it when it's coming, and I know how to shut it down pretty fast.
Yeah.
So, but it's honestly been pretty fine.
Yeah, and even here, honestly, your experience in like places like Oregon or California or the Pacific Northwest would be even better.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a mic that I used to go to sometimes in Portland that would they made all the straight white men sign up in one line. And then they let everybody else sign up in the other column. And then they would go every other. But there were so many more straight white men. You'd show up, that list would be like 30 deep. And the other list there'd be like 8 or whatever.
Yeah, that
and
makes
they could
sense.
show up like 5 minutes before the show and still get a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is real fun.
Rough. Oh, God. Yeah, there's only so much my dick jokes that I can take in one night.
Yeah. For sure, it's like, this is by far the most misogynistic scene I've come across.
It's wild.
And it's still like, it's more, it's like playful for the most part.
Like, I don't believe them. They do it on stage. Here's the thing is, a lot of the time I feel like they do it on stage for a reaction. And then, because I know a lot of them personally.
Right.
And I don't feel like they actually are. They just are doing it to get a reaction. And it's like, guys, come on, man.
A lot of that here.
Don't do that.
And like, Portland like is having their own issues with like sexual predators and sexual assaulters and stuff like that. And like, I know that's been a problem in the scene here at times.
There's
and
a
like,
list.
yeah, I've heard about the list.
There's a list.
Yeah.
I got the Google Doc.
Yeah,
right here.
that's awesome. At least people are keeping people safe.
Keeping tabs. It's hard.
Yeah, it sure is. But like, so my point is that's a problem everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So just because the scene is like kind of openly misogynistic, I don't know if it's like necessarily worse on that.
And I've said this before. It's always like, we hate women, but not you, Sarah. It's always like that.
Yeah.
That's how it is. It's always like, or we hate Jews, but not you, Sarah. And I'm like, okay, come on, guys. We hate the gays, not you, Sarah.
How'd you know I was Jewish?
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah, my last name.
Yeah.
The only way you can.
Sarah Steiner.
I was doing
Jewish
a joke
name.
for a long time about how I can't tell Jewish people apart from other white people.
Yeah,
it's like weird. I'd have to know somebody's last name to be prejudiced against them.
They call me a day walker because I don't look Jewish according to people, which is fine.
I can't, even when people look Jewish, I can't tell.
I can't tell. Then you got people who look Jewish that aren't Jewish.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's dumb. The whole thing is dumb. But yes, it's always not you, Sarah.
Right. Well, let's see other things about being a woman. Or like, are there any like, do you think like men have any advantages that you see like?
If anything, I feel like they have a disadvantage because they have a bigger pool that they have to work against to get booked on stuff.
Sure, that's an issue. That's a weird thing. But that like,
it's very competitive. I feel like. I mean, that's for everyone though. Like, there's only so many spots. Now I feel like there's a ton of spots. Like, there's so many shows and we have so many clubs out. Even with the clubs, there's tons of them out here. Even if they're the smaller ones, but there's a lot of bar shows going on that people can get time on if they. I think the biggest problem for people, not that this was the question, but the biggest problem people have is themselves, like getting, too drunk to go on stage or too high to go on.
Sure.
People fuck themselves over all the time.
Yeah, it's horrible. And
frustrating.
It's so hard here to like keep convincing yourself to keep going.
Yeah.
Because like it's just so many 45-minute drives and like 105-degree weather.
I know.
And you get there and there's like nobody there except comics and you're just like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like,
Randy Hauser, who runs the Clean Comedy, he calls those Kona shows comics only, no audience.
Yeah.
I like that. That's wild.
Yeah.
No, I know. I live in North Phoenix, like close, like just south of Anthem.
Yeah.
So everything for me is 45 minutes away. Woodshed, which I co-host once a week, is 45 minutes away.
You're insane.
Yeah. Down here, 30 minutes away. Everywhere, Tempe, 30 minutes away.
Has Woodshed been fun? I haven't been in a while.
Woodshed honestly has gotten better.
I used to
feel
go a lot.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's gotten a lot better. And I don't know, again, I've been doing this less than a year, but from what I've seen, it kind of ebbs and flows with who's at the open mics. Like, you get a group of them that are coming all the time, and then some of them fall off and quit comedy or go different mics. And now on Wednesdays, there's like 5 or 6 different mics around the valley.
Yeah, exactly. I'm always at Stir Crazy on Wednesdays.
I try to go there as much as I can. Because I love Stir Crazy. And like, if I was going to pick somewhere that I wanted to be like my home club moving forward, I would like Stir Crazy. I love that room.
Yeah,
Every time
fun.
I'm in there, I have a great time.
Yeah, it's a very fun room for doing comedy. They set it up very well and they cared a lot.
I love it.
There's not a lot they could even do to really make it better. It's
no,
pretty
I
much
like
perfect.
it there, yeah.
It would be
Best open
sick.
mic.
It'd be sick if like Tom opened a big club somewhere.
Yeah, that'll be great.
He'd be able to do it well too, I'm sure. And
I
like
love it.
the kind of the bottleneck or whatever with Stir Crazy is that it only seats 100, so they like basically can't get comics you've heard of.
No, they
you
can't.
know?
It's too small unless they do like a
yeah.
whole like 2-weekend run, and I don't think they're gonna do that. Well, plus Footprint Center's right there.
Lamar and I had a dream of like trying to get like big name comics into Stir Crazy and charge like
ridiculous
what you would charge for like floor seats at a theater show or whatever,
I think
like
people would pay
300
it.
a ticket or whatever. But it's a lot to coordinate.
It is, I'm sure. I mean, that's the big thing. I feel like that's a big thing right now is doing like secret shows or whatever.
Yeah, secret shows are big. Don't
big
tell
name headliners. Yeah.
Like from what I've seen, the Don't Tell shows do well everywhere.
They're great every week.
Well, here
and in other cities, they're just doing great.
Well in other cities.
But if you were doing like, you know what I mean, like a secret show, like and you're like, hey, this is an A-list celebrity or a B-list celebrity, like you're gonna know who this is. We're charging this amount, like it's at a club. You could do it. Yeah. I think people would definitely pay for it.
I think so too.
To be that close to someone and that intimate, that's what it is, the intimacy and the
There's
exclusivity.
literally not a bad seat.
No, it's great. I love it.
But even like. It's even like almost too small for that.
Yeah.
Like, it's hilarious. Yeah.
It's very intimate.
It's very intimate. It's perfect for me.
Yeah, I love it. Because you like to be right up in people. No, just kidding.
I don't draw enough for big clubs. So.
I draw no one yet. But again, less than a year, so I'm giving myself some grace.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be decades before any of us draw any number of people.
It's tough
so weird.
right now because I know sometimes with booking, especially clubs, they want you to be able to bring people, and it's like I can't. Do that.
I know. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes most clubs that are like reasonable don't care that much.
Yeah.
It's I mean, the New Faces show is different. Obviously,
I only do that for my parents,
and they got to put butts in seats for that. They can't be like. It makes sense. That's a bringer show. It's a like 500 seat room.
Well, and anyone can do it.
You know how much like it costs just to
air condition that thing?
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty
just
reasonable.
To pay the server is ridiculous. Now I get it. Those kinds of shows I get because that's something that anyone can email and be like, I want to do my 5 minutes, and that's cool.
Yeah. I don't think this has really been your experience probably, but kind of what I see with the difference between women and men doing comedy is I think it's easy. Like you said, it's easier for women to get spots because even though there's like less spots overall for women, there's still like the ratio is better for like spots to comics. But like I think it's harder for women to be accepted.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, like by their peers.
It's one of those things where it's like, oh, you're doing such a good job for a woman, and I'm like, oh, get fucked, dude. I'm doing such a good job for anyone.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of really funny women, and then there's a lot of men that are kind of like act like they're just on the show because there has to be a woman on the show.
There's a lot of that. Yeah. It's
not
although I will tell you, when I look at the people who book shows and I look at shows around the valley and I see that they've done 5 or 6 shows and they haven't had a woman on any of their shows, it makes me raise an eyebrow. I'm like, what is your problem?
No, there's enough funny women that's unacceptable.
There's enough of us around. I mean, and it's especially, at the level that I'm at, which is, still going to open mics all the time and still going to bar shows all the time, not working the clubs, there's plenty of women that you can book at this level. And so it's wild to see a show go 5, 6, 7 shows without a female on the ticket. It's like, okay, now something is weird.
Yeah, exactly.
You either aren't seeing us or you don't like us, and that's fine.
Is it?
that's your prerogative,
Yeah.
but I'm going to keep an eye on you, and it's going to make me wary of anything that you approach me with.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I guess you haven't really done comedy in a liberal place.
No.
But
just
you're
here.
clearly a pretty liberal person.
What? What? Yeah.
There was
definitely
I saw you do a set a while ago.
Oh, God.
At House of Comedy, and it didn't go that well, and
No.
you weren't happy with it.
No.
And Lycan and I were talking about it afterwards.
Oh, God.
And I forget how I put it, but I was like, that crowd really didn't like Sarah.
No,
like,
they didn't. The minute I stepped on stage, I could feel it.
Yeah,
and it's happened to me, and not to disparage House of Comedy at all or their patrons, but that's just...
But they're very homophobic.
It's been a tough nut to crack for me personally.
Yeah.
They're not down with me in that way. And
I know. They see your colored hair, and immediately they're like...
Immediately they're not on board.
She's going to have to be so fucking funny to make us
they're
laugh.
immediately not on board with whatever I'm going to say. And it's funny because I try to stay away from politics and all of that, but it sneaks in there a little bit. I've been doing a joke recently about how all my ex-boyfriends look like their whereabouts were unknown on January 6, 2023, which I think is a very funny joke, but I accidentally did that joke at JP's out in Gilbert, which is also a very...
Wait, but you said all your ex-boyfriends, so you're into these
Yes,
guys.
that's what I'm saying, but they don't see it that way. Oh, she's talking shit. Yeah.
Dude, no, I mean...
Yeah.
They hate to admit it. They would never admit it, but conservatives are ridiculously sensitive. I mean, both the extremes are ridiculously
We're all sensitive. People are sensitive as people.
I don't know.
We're all sensitive, and if you attack us for something that we believe in, we're going to get defensive. That's just how people are.
People just have such a weird reaction to being offended, though.
Yes.
Like, when I get offended, and I do, like, people get surprised at that sometimes, like... Because, like, oh,
you're
like,
dark.
You're such a dark, edgy comic. Somebody was giving me shit for being an edgy comic the other day, and I was making fun of them. I was like, yeah, I'm so edgy. They're like, Eric, you talk about pedophiles
a lot.
Basically every set I've seen you do. I was like a lot. You know what? That's a good point.
And midgets. Don't forget midgets.
Edgy. What were we talking about before that?
How people get defensive.
Offended.
Yeah.
But yeah. People don't expect me to get offended because, like, I'm an edgy or dark comic or whatever. But, like, I do get offended sometimes. But when I get offended, my first reaction is like, oh, I care about something too much. I need to, like, adjust how much emotional attachment. Like, this thing doesn't matter.
Have you been through therapy?
Yeah,
that's why. Yeah, that's why. You're using a therapy thing.
Like a sign. It's just a sign that you care about something too much.
Yes.
Like, nobody's trying to hurt you.
Yeah.
You know?
My favorite, people will come at me like when they're trying to roast me or whatever. The biggest thing that people try to do is be like, oh, self-harm, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I never did that. You're so off base. Like,
I did a show in Oregon, I think 3 weekends ago, or something. And afterwards, there's a woman crying in the audience. The booker goes over to her, and I hear her. She's like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "Why was everything just so horrible? That guy with the beard." And I looked at the other comics. I was like, "Oh no, nobody else has a beard here." I was like, "What did I even?" Like?
That's Eric.
I think it was like the bit where I say that I want to transition to another race. It's like not even.
That's not anything. That's just
bad.
a silly bit. Yeah, that is a silly bit.
It's just a funny idea about wanting to change my race. I just use the word transition to make it a little funnier.
A little edgier.
Silly word.
Skirting that line.
Yeah, I guess she didn't like that.
Oh,
or,
God.
You know, I did some jokes about suicide. Whatever.
You know. I was with Rob Maybe in Tucson, and he was headlining this show at a bar. And he was doing, I don't know, some of you may know this joke, but he does a joke about his ex-wife and how her new boyfriend has diabetes. And so he said, why would I get mad at or why would I want to kill someone when orange juice and cookies would kill them? And this woman in the audience lost her shit.
Yeah.
Apparently her husband had died from diabetes and she lost her goddamn mind. And Rob was like, how would I know that? What are you mad about? It was wild.
Lady, you care too much about your husband dying.
It was just one of those things where it's like, look, I get that you have your own trauma, but like, this is a comedy show. Chill out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's clearly not trying to like reference that or whatever.
He doesn't fucking know you, dude.
Yeah. First time I met Rob, I was at Backstreet Asia. Have you been there? No, maybe?
Once.
Okay, I was at Backstreet Asia. There's nobody else there. It's just me and Jesse and
yeah.
Rob and like 3 poor normal people that like are putting up with this for some reason. And Rob like immediately is like, sees the room, is like, I'm not fucking going up tonight. Fuck this. And I'm like, all right, like I'll go up by myself. Yeah. And I go up and I do a bunch of jokes. And after my set, Rob's like, you know what? I changed my mind. I am going up. Yeah. And he gets up and just roasts me for like 7 minutes.
Yeah,
he's like, actually, I needed that. Thanks, Eric. He gets off stage. That's the first time I met. We hadn't spoke before he got on stage. Like, the first words he spoke to me were into a microphone about me.
Fucking
it
funny.
was awesome.
Yeah, that's also
Rob.
very on brand.
Yeah, he's the best.
He's the best.
He's so funny.
One of my best friends. Love him very much.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of found the political... I haven't found it to be that conservative here, if I'm being honest. It's
very
more
blendy.
Libertarian. They're like, we like our guns. We like marijuana. Right. We're cool with gay people, especially if they like guns.
But like, let them be over there.
Yeah, I mean, if they're into guns, they can come hang out. Otherwise, they're kind of like, we like gay people as long as they're not queers.
Yeah, right. That's very much it. It's weird. It's a weird city.
We like chase gays, not
chase gays, right?
Not,
gays who don't straight presenting.
I'm not gonna say who they don't like.
Straight core, straight core. We call it.
I have noticed that Chase hasn't been saying that he's gay at House of Comedy anymore.
So, do you want to know why? Do you want to know why?
Because they freeze up on him.
Here's a little peek behind the curtain. No, so Falling Apart, which is the show that Chris Banks does, and I co-produce with him.
Yeah.
We do sketches, whatever, and we interrupt the comics during their sets. That's part of the show, is that we interrupt the comics. For Chase, what we did was take his show, Trigger Word, which is the shot caller show, and we made it for him. So I gave everyone in the audience party blowers, and I said, every time he talks about being gay, blow that party blower. Okay, here's what his set sounded like: blah blah blah, brr, blah brr, blah blah blah, brr. And he came up to me afterward. He's like, I have to get rid of some of the gay stuff. There's too much gay. Because he realized he was like, I'm doing all gay stuff. He's like, I have to change it, which is fine. I was like, there's nothing wrong with your set. He's like, no, it has to change. So he's been trying to work on stuff that's not as gay, and especially because he is at House of Comedy all the time. So that audience, as soon as you're like, I'm gay, I'm liberal, like, I'm a little weird, they're like, we don't like you anymore. It's like, I'm kidding. I'm trying to set up a joke. Like, chill the fuck out for a second. Oh my God. And then as soon as you're like a little bit homophobic or racist, they're like, we like this. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother.
It's so funny that like, even like Mike hosting there a lot, he has to win him over a lot. They're like, wait, you guys got a black guy hosting? What's going on around here?
Yeah, they got holsters, but there's no guns in them. What is this?
Yeah.
I think they feel more comfortable if there were guns in the holsters.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, what is there? What are those? Is that a purse?
Yes.
Not a under the arm holster? What's going on, boy?
You know what's funny is that I actually have a holster like that, like a purse holster, just like he wears, that my friend made for me for festivals.
Yeah.
Because you can't steal from under my armpit.
Oh, that's brilliant, actually. Yeah. I think I was at House of Comedy 3 times in February. Yes. Every time I opened with like, it's Black History Month, give it up for Black History Month. With that said, there are some black people here tonight, so watch out. It just crushed every time.
Yeah, the racism. It's hard because it's like, I don't want to be like, so I hate when I say stuff like this because it makes me sound so pretentious. Yeah. But it's like, I don't want to do jokes that are like the low-hanging fruit jokes. Like, I try to stay away from
fuck you, Sarah.
My pussy jokes. Like, I hate when women get on stage and are like, I'm so good at sex and my pussy and I was sucking this guy's dick. Like, I just feel like there's other things that you can write about in your experience that doesn't have to be sex. Like, I try to stay so
With
far
anything,
away.
it should be subtle, is my theory. It's like, if you want to talk about your vagina, find a way that you're not being like, my vag.
Yeah, it just is one of those things. So it's like, when I see the low-hanging fruit like that, it's so hard for me not to go, yoink! And like... Yeah. It's hard.
That was a fun joke.
It's fun.
Bring it back every February.
Sometimes
you want to
you
know
just
the
gotta
best
do
part of
it.
that joke? My favorite part of that joke
What?
is I wrote it and I didn't know about it. I was like, because I came up
You
in
weren't
Oregon
sure.
where I
Yeah.
couldn't do
You
that.
can't do that,
I wouldn't
no.
do that joke
Nope,
there.
nope.
And I was like, Devin, do this joke. It was at Wayward. He was like, okay. And
Devin Hannock?
Yeah, and it crushed. And he got off stage. I was like, hey, I'm going to start
that
doing
back,
that joke.
yeah.
He was like, what? I was like, I wrote it. Like,
you threw Devin to the wolves.
I had him try a joke for
Yeah.
me because I was scared.
I love
for
Devin.
real. And then
a
as
good
soon as
kid.
it saw I do well, I was like, I don't care if you keep doing it, but I'm
also
gonna keep
do
doing it.
I love Devin. Devin's such a good kid,
Yeah,
man.
he's fun.
He's a fun kid. He's great.
Yeah, it's an
And
exciting.
he'll just go out there and do whatever. And
He's so
just
crazy.
take that nervous energy.
For a
and
while,
run
he's
with
doing
it.
that like joke where he compared black people and mermaids.
Yeah,
And, like,
I know.
He kept being like, "No, it's about how racism's dumb." I was like, "I get it,
I don't
but
think that
nobody
people are
else
getting
thinks that."
that,
Yeah. What's that Theo Von line? He's like, "I'm not judging you, but I'm saying other
I'm
people
saying other people
are
are, yeah.
gonna." Yeah.
Oh, definitely. That's what I tell the kids all the time when they get
And
off
that's so
stage.
funny because like that's just indicative of him having only ever been here.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have that filter in his mind where he's like, maybe people won't like me if I say this. It's like, it just doesn't really matter that much
No.
here. People have said much worse shit.
So, dude, I'm telling you, especially at the doing an
Yeah.
open mic once a week and like
Yeah.
running
Oh.
it. Because when I go to open mics, I'm
You're
not
not really
I'm not
listening,
listening.
but you have to
But
when
when
you're
I'm
host,
hosting, I'm
kinda,
listening.
yeah.
I'm always listening.
Totally.
And like if you ask me, I'll listen. But you have to
Totally.
ask me before your set because I can't
Yeah.
go back in time and turn my ears on for you.
I was just talking to somebody about this too. I'll never ask somebody to watch my set again. Remember one time when I was like, probably like 7 months into comedy, there was a guy there who'd been doing comedy like 10 plus years.
Yeah,
I was like,
watch
hey,
my
you
set.
should watch my set tonight. He's like, okay. And just probably the hardest I've ever eaten dick. Like, yeah, just like so bad. I just remember being like, I'm never telling anybody to watch me.
Sometimes
again.
I'll ask, like Chase and I will watch
That's
each other's
different,
sets.
kinda,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll be like, hey Rob, will you watch my set to tell me what's going on?
It's a little different. Yeah.
Like people I respect, and I hope that people who respect me would do the same thing. Like I know sometimes the kids do that.
Yeah.
Oops, that would be my alarm to sign up for the open mic at Stir Crazy.
Oh, let's do that.
yeah, let's do that right now. Look at that. Live
Shout
on
out to
camera.
Stir Crazy.
Shout out Stir Crazy.
I guess we would have time at the end of the episode. It doesn't really matter. It'd take 30 seconds.
Take 30
You know what,
seconds.
Sarah? Nobody listens to this podcast anyways.
Whatever.
Nobody's even upset with us. There's probably literally people that need to sign up. I guess this won't be out at the time.
Boom.
Yeah.
Done.
I'm
Look at
not gonna
that.
get it this week.
I haven't gotten it in a while. Well, because I did it once, and then I did the cold to hot spot,
Yeah.
which was
Tom says it's not
Fine.
true, but I'm pretty sure if you make it onto the list.
no, they blacklist you for a month. Yeah,
He
no.
denies it, but
You can deny all you want.
yeah.
We know the truth
Yeah.
in our brains.
Yeah.
The Earth is flat. There are lizard people, and Stir Crazy blacklist you
Yeah.
for a month. No, I'm just kidding on those first two, but the last one's straight. No,
That mic is fun though. It's fun as hell.
love that.
Where were we? It doesn't really matter. Let's talk about what other. Have you traveled anywhere for comedy?
Just to Tucson so
Did
far.
you do laughs?
No, so I've
just for
done
those
I've done
the
the
bar
clean
shows.
comedy in
Okay.
Tucson. There's a group that does clean comedy in Tucson. So I went down there for the first show that they booked me on, and I was like, "How long am I doing?" And they were like, "Just go. We don't really like people. Just like go as long as you want." I ended up doing like 14 minutes, which was cool
Yeah.
because that's a lot of clean.
How
material.
much do you feel like Tucson is noticeably more liberal than Phoenix? Do you?
No, not the clean comedy people. Those are all Mormons.
Oh, well, that's a little different.
Yeah,
for
those
sure.
are all Mormons. I went down. I did Playground. I did a bar show at Playground, and they loved me. So
Yeah.
that I mean they definitely aren't.
I felt
scared of me.
more. Yeah. I
Yeah.
felt like it was more liberal when
Yeah,
I was in there.
yeah.
Like there was. Yeah, I don't know. Like there's more trans
But
people.
I'm from Tucson. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't
but
know
yeah,
that.
no,
Cool.
I went to to high school and college in Tucson. I
Nice.
didn't graduate, but I went. Yeah.
It's just so weird. Like how different certain rooms can be, and
Yes.
like how close they are to each other. Like, it's so weird to me that LA is like one of the most hyper liberal scenes there is.
That's
like,
very
where
strange.
literally you couldn't do jokes about you couldn't do any jokes that were over the top, that were like homophobic or racist or sexist or whatever. People just wouldn't laugh and go with you on it. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, sure. I hear you. Good. And then like just 4 hours east, it's just like the complete opposite.
Yeah.
And people like, I was at an open mic the other day and there was a comic from LA there, and the host was literally like, this next comedian's from what I like to call the gayest place on earth, Los Angeles. Give it up for this
Not
guy.
San Francisco?
And I was like, yeah, give it up for this queer. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
I like made fun of him for a minute, and I was like,
That's like a wild way to
yeah.
introduce someone.
I was
That's
like, that's what I said. I was like, that's a really wild way to introduce
that's
somebody.
like
It's
one
like, just
time-
give it up for this queer. And then the comic from LA kind of looked at me funny. I was like, welcome to Phoenix, pussy.
The poor guy.
Yeah.
Someone introduced me once as this next comic hates black people.
It's not even what you look like.
And I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, I know
look
that
like
you
fuck black people.
I'm like, I know you think you're being funny, but like the rest of the people in this bar don't know me. And that is the first impression you're giving them of me?
Yeah.
What in the actual fuck is that?
It's so rude.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was like, look, I get that you think you're making a joke and that's your sense of humor, but
Yeah.
what? How? Way to set me up for failure.
It's very bad hosting.
Yeah, bad.
Oh, like a club owner told me, with hosting, your first job is to be likable.
Yeah.
Second job is to convince the audience that the next comic is funny.
Yes.
And your third job is to be funny.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
People are bad at it. Yeah.
strange. And like I host a lot, because I host the open mic, and then Brandy at Do Better has me host like at
Cool.
least
Shout
once
out
every
Brandy.
other. I love Brandy. I love doing Do Better shows. They're always fun. I always have a good time, and I genuinely enjoy doing them. And I think people have this aversion to Do Better because they think there's too many rules.
Oh, the scene's just dumb
Yeah,
about a lot of stuff. And like, I very much understand both sides on this one. But anybody that has like a problem that Do Better exists is really dumb.
Yeah, really dumb.
Yeah.
Because they're not coming into your space and going, you can't do that.
No, they're
here.
just like, how about we have a place where like people feel comfortable?
Yeah.
Like,
Where we're not going to hear the cringe lord comedy hour.
how did I put it? Like, I've always had this alternative, I don't want to call it a criticism, but perspective of Do Better, which is like, you're never going to win your culture war with these little safe spaces.
No.
The real way to win is to come out here and be funnier than the
for sure.
homophobes, funnier than the racists.
Right.
Make fun of them to their faces and point out how stupid it is to be
I agree with
any
that.
kind of sexist. But it's also important to have safe spaces. So like,
gives them a place,
both are true.
It gives them a place to try those jokes and get better at those jokes before they can take them elsewhere.
Absolutely.
And that being said, if you're only doing Do Better mics, that's also a problem.
You're doing yourself a disservice.
You
if
have
you
to
don't
get
come
out in the
there
real world,
trenches.
yeah.
And like, you're gonna get your feelings hurt. Like, there's gonna be people that don't like you.
100%.
There's gonna be people that wish you would quit comedy and don't think you're
people
funny.
don't like me. I know there's people that don't like me, which they're wrong, but
There's people that don't like me, and I agree with them 100%. There's nothing you could say that'll make me hate me more.
Well, that's the thing is that, like, when people get, it's funny when people try to, like, say mean things to me in a genuine way and not, like, in a roasting way, like, in a genuine way when they're trying to be mean. And I'm like, do you think I haven't said that to myself 5 times
Right.
already
There's something
today?
seriously wrong with me. When I find out somebody has been talking shit about me, it kind of makes
like,
me like
ooh,
them
what'd they
more.
say?
Yeah.
I just want to know so I
like-
can work on that.
I'm not even. I'm like, man, like, I get it. Like, I'm not great.
Man, I gotta suck. No, I don't know. It's fine. I just do
And
what
just
I do.
also, if somebody's talking shit about you, it's good if the people that don't like you are thinking about you.
Yeah, that just means I'm on your mind.
Yeah.
Ooh, woo.
Exactly.
Gross. No, I know. And that's fine. There's always, it's like whoever said it, they're always the villain in someone else's story.
Yeah.
Like you're always going to be the bad guy to someone.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I'm okay with that. I have a lot of things outside of comedy that
and
I
the
have
thing
to
is,
take care of.
I like talking shit. I'm not going to stop. So people
Yeah.
feel free to talk shit about
Talk
me. I
shit.
get it.
Get
There's
it.
a lot that you know, is not cool.
Yeah. I try. It's hard. I try not to like disparage anyone's character until I know them. But
yeah. That's what exactly. Most of the time I'm talking shit, I'm being so harmless and surface.
Oh,
level.
yeah.
Just like, I don't have no attachment to what I'm saying. I'm
know who
probably
you are.
just trying to make someone laugh.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. There's
Yeah.
a lot of drama in the Phoenix scene.
Yeah, a lot of comedy in our drama scene.
Yes, that too. Yeah, I agree with that. It's rough. It's weird. Being someone who has a full-time job and a child outside of doing comedy, it's so funny when people are like so focused.
Comics have way too much time on their hands.
They have too much.
Yeah,
I'm like, get a job, get a hobby,
need way more
find
jobs.
something to do with your life that is not starting shit with other people
online.
just do something. That I commented on a post the other day on Taco's page. Shout out to Taco. And this guy, because she had asked someone, you know, will you send me a set? She was trying to book for her hookah show, which, by the way, I've done. Super fun. Highly recommend.
As long as you can handle being in a fucking smoke-filled
Oh,
room.
yeah. I was fine with that.
Yeah, okay, good.
But
I couldn't.
I hang out at cigar bars. See, I hang out at cigar bars. Like, that's what I do. I love it. So hookah is way better. It smells better. But I had so she was booking for that show, and someone had instead of sending her a set, they had sent her a link to a New Faces flyer.
Huh.
And I was like, that's a wild thing to do.
Yeah. That is wild.
That is a wild thing to do. We all know how New Faces work, and if you don't, let me explain it to you. You sign up online, and they put you on if you bring 10 people. Like, it's very, very easy. So he got mad at me and started DMing me, Lil Ugly, my second victim. And I was like, blocked and reported. I don't have time for this.
Nice.
Like, I don't have time for your bullshit.
My second victim.
Also, Lil Ugly, I'm like, okay, cool. Do you think I haven't told myself that 6 times today? Gross. Ew.
Striking deep on that one, buddy.
Ooh, surface level. He said, I looked through your Facebook page and yikes. I'm like, okay. What? You looked through all the pictures of my child? What a weird thing to do, you pedo.
Yikes.
But no, I just block people. I don't have time.
Smart.
Yeah, I don't have time. I'm old. I'm tired.
That's such a funny thing to like overreact to. That is a wild thing to do. That's like that. You're like almost not even criticizing. You're just like giving advice.
Hey, exactly. Yeah. That's what it was. I'm like, look, if you want like real advice from someone who's been, who's new, don't do that. Do what people are asking. Yeah. Send a set. Go, and we all know what New Faces is. These are the kind of people that only do New Faces, though. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And then they'll come. I remember at Wayward one time, this guy was like, I only do stand-up live, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what day of the
week? Yeah, a lot of that.
We know. We're not dumb.
Right.
Don't come into the open mics and act like you're better than us because you do New Faces every month. We know.
Yeah, it's not impressive.
No.
It's not impressive. You bomb at
As
New
my
Faces
friend
once a month.
Shania once said, that don't impress me much. It's a Shania Twain song.
Yeah. Do you still go to JP's a lot?
Sometimes he books me for guest spots occasionally.
Nice.
Yeah, which is
Cool.
nice. Yeah,
That is cool.
It's a drive though. It's an hour to get out there.
Does that room react to you the same way as House of Comedy?
I'm very careful out there, and I do a lot of. The only edgy joke that I do is that Gen Z Anne Frank joke. I don't know if you've heard me do it.
Probably, but I can't remember.
It's just like I like to, because I say the setup is that I talk about being Jewish and losing weight, and that my Jewish DNA wants me to eat bread, and then I say it's not a great time to be Jewish. Historically speaking, not the worst time. Yeah. But then I say I like to think about what the Diary of Anne Frank would sound like in Gen Z terms. And it's just a TikTok video of a girl going, one thing about me is that I hate the Nazis. And they love that shit. They love that shit.
That's awesome.
It's like if you go right up to that line, they like it. I don't know, which is so dumb.
Yeah.
But my sister hates that joke. My stepmom hates that joke.
Yeah, whatever. I think most of my family would hate most of my jokes.
Yeah.
I only would ever invite family if I know I'm going to be in like a sold out room.
Yeah, because then you don't feel, you're like, hey, these are actually funny jokes. Like,
yeah, it's like, even if they don't like it, at least they can see a room full of people thinking I'm funny, at least, or hopefully,
My dad came out to New Faces this last week. And
cool.
So I did most of my like parenting material because I didn't want to do
Whatever.
the sex stuff in front of my dad. That's weird.
Yep, kind of.
Yeah.
And also, it'll just happen at some point.
At some point, it's gonna happen, but probably not because my.
Is he not that? He's
not that supportive.
No.
It's fine. I mean, you can look at my hair and tell that my relationship with my dad is not super great.
Yeah, I know there are things I know about you too.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What are your goals for the next year of comedy?
The next year of comedy, just keep that trajectory. Get booked as much as possible. I mean, I've been averaging like 9 shows a month, which is, sometimes it's less, a lot of times it's more.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I've got 6 booked for next month, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm going to do June Jam. Pretty stoked about that one.
What's June Jam?
June Jam is a music festival in Flagstaff, but they have comedy as well. So
Cool. It'll be outside.
Yeah, but it's in Flag.
Okay.
So it'll be nice. But
yeah.
Just moving forward.
Still, the laugh's just like.
Like,
are you guys laughing? It looks like it, but I can't hear anything.
I can hear you. No, just get better. Make the jokes, tighten up the jokes, and keep going. And eventually, I mean, maybe in the next year, I'd like to do a weekend somewhere, but that's a very, very ambitious goal.
Yeah,
for someone who's under 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird, like, trying to figure out when you're ready for things.
Yeah.
And, like, knowing. And sometimes you just have to go for them before you're ready.
I don't want to jump the gun on stuff, and that's why I've been hesitant.
Well, that's always been my policy, too. It's like, I'd rather be asked to do something than asked to do it. And anytime I'm looked over for an opportunity, I know that just means I'll be that much better when I get it.
Yeah.
If I get it.
100%.
Because I know that I'm working.
However, there's a lot of people in the scene, so we gotta ask for things.
That's yeah. That's part of the problem.
Gotta ask
it's
for
like
things.
I came up in a scene where there was maybe like 25 comics, so
Yeah,
everybody
so
knew
everybody
each
knew
other.
each other.
And like it's almost obnoxious if you ask for spots because they're just like, yeah, dude, we
Yeah,
got
we
the rotation
know.
going.
Yeah,
We'll get you
yeah.
the next time. Everybody gets booked, and like
Yeah.
it's just a little bit. And here, people literally will just forget about you if you don't
There's
reach
so
out.
many. Well, that's like Chase books 3 different shows, and I watch people come up to him all the time and be like, "Will you book me? Will you book me?" And he's like, "Please send me a DM. I will forget."
Yeah.
And even then, sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle. Like I know I message people all the time, like the Queen Comedy people. I always have to message them like once a month at least to be like, "Hey, I still exist. I'm still here."
Right.
There's so many of us.
Yeah.
There's so many of us.
It's true.
And it's like I'm a pretty memorable person.
Yeah.
But still, you have to stay top of mind to people, and you just got to keep grinding. But that's all I do is just keep going to as many open mics a week as I can, and shows, and keep doing Falling Apart, which is great. And just
I
keep
think
going.
having like I don't know. Have you listened to this podcast before? I have these things I talk about SMART goals. It stands for, it's a business. I learned it in my business class. It stands for specific, measurable, accomplishable.
Okay.
That's the big important
Yeah. Oh,
one,
yeah.
that you have to, like, it's
Set
not like
goals that you
abstract.
can accomplish,
It's something you can actually do. Relevant and then time bound. So like my big one is like perform 5 times a week.
Yeah.
Because it's all those things. It's specific, measurable,
all those things.
accomplishable. Like you could perform 15 times a week.
That's how
here
my
if you
thing.
want.
Yeah, that's my.
I think that's a good minimum, though.
Mine is minimum at least 5 mics a week. I
Yeah.
try if I'm not booked on shows, and if I'm doing shows, those count.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I look
No,
at it.
100%.
And then usually I end up honestly doing 6 or more.
Yeah, I'd end up doing. I think 7 is where I usually land.
I think it's important to take a night off every week, though.
Yeah,
some people
it's
don't.
hard. It's weird.
I know, like young guys, like Aldo, fucking never takes.
Yeah, but they don't have responsibilities.
Yeah.
I have a kid and a job. I'm tired.
Yeah, it must be awesome when your parents are paying for rent in New York.
Yeah, someone looked at me the other day. They're like, "How are you here?" And I was like, "Well, you see, I don't sleep. I live off of water and tea and a hope and a dream and a whisper and an angel's kiss, and I just go."
Yeah.
But I live on naps. I like naps.
Naps are great. I nap a lot. I have like the most ridiculously great job for comedy, so I'm very lucky.
I have a great job. I work from home.
Half my work's from home. I have to go into jail once a week and go see people. It usually takes like 2 hours tops.
Yeah, I haven't had to talk to a client in 4.5 years. It's been great.
Yeah,
I love it.
I like that.
Yeah.
What else? Do you have any advice for people that are like just starting out?
Be humble. That is my biggest piece of advice for people is sit down, be humble. No,
it's so true. I'll tell you this, the longer you do comedy, the more you realize how little you've been doing it. Yeah. You're like, when you first start out, you're so excited and you feel like such a comic and you feel like you're part of this thing. And then like, the more you do it, you're like, oh, there's like a lot of people that have been doing comedy like 15 years that are like not successful and are very funny and are like ahead of you in like line or whatever for like success. And you feel like they're your peers and they're not. Yeah. They've been doing it literally a decade
way
longer than you.
Yeah.
And like, it's crazy those people can even treat you with like a modicum of respect. Like,
just be humble.
There's this dude Seth from Eugene that like he really is kind of known for like not talking to like first year comics,
which makes sense. We come and we go
so much, and like I really didn't get it at first, and like the more I've done comedy, the more I'm like, yeah, why would you?
Yeah.
Like,
it's because we come and we go.
So many people he's met and invested like time and effort into, and then they're just gone, and you never see them again.
Even the scene here, I've seen people that come and go.
And it's like you have to some extent, like stick with like your peers. Mm-hmm. Like your legitimate peers. That means like the people who have been doing it roughly as long as you.
It's weird. I feel like there's a group of people that kind of started the same time I did, and we all kind of stick together, which is good, and I appreciate that. But then, I have Chase, who's been doing it longer, and Rob, who's been doing it even longer, and I consider them...
Rob's like a good example of what I'm talking about, where it's like crazy he can even tolerate it.
Yeah. He puts up with so much. But the great thing about Rob is that if he does believe in you, he will help you, and he will.
And like also, like... anybody who does comedy should be able to have respect for people that can get on stage. Yeah. It's a very weird
hard thing to do.
Yeah, and like...
See, that's the thing, though. For me, it was never the getting on stage part, because I come from theater. That's what I did in high school and college, and after I graduated, I did like adult community theater. The getting on stage part was never the hard part. It was the talking about myself and my life experiences and sharing that part of sharing that part of myself was always a weird thing. But now it doesn't bother me. Now I'm like, whatever. Now I'm like,
it's kind of the same thing. It's like getting on stage by yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. But
it's still, but I mean, it is different. Like a lot of people, it sounds like you were scared more to be vulnerable than you were to perform. But a lot of people, it's just literally, it's just hard to perform.
The first time I ever went on stage, I memorized my jokes like I was memorizing lines.
Yeah, I did that for years. I did.
And now it's a little bit different. Now I'm like, okay, well, I know this joke and I know that joke, and now I just can go with both.
I go back and forth on this a lot. I think it's very important the crowd cannot tell that you are
memorized.
Just reciting something. But also, like, a lot of my jokes, there are parts where it's like, this has to be hit this specific way.
Yes.
Because, like...
if you word it differently, it's not going to work.
Right. Is, like, really important to me for whatever reason. But, like, it's important to have parts of jokes where you're, like, you can say it a different way,
or you can do
so that
different.
It's a little different. And then utilizing things like, being like, like... so it seems like you're thinking of things in the moment.
Right, really exactly. Well, you wrote like the joke. Device. You know what the joke is. Yeah. No, 100%. I agree with that. But yeah, like I said, the first year of comedy, I feel like what happens with a lot of us is that we start getting booked and we start getting booked more. We start getting traction. And then we get this like big head where we're like, I'm better than these open mics. I don't need to do this anymore. Like blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no.
For sure. Well, yeah. Don't stop doing bad rooms. Yeah. Nothing makes you a better comic than
doing the bad rooms.
Like, they make you want to kill yourself, and you should also go do clubs so that you don't fucking jump in the tub with a toaster. But
just learn.
There's just like nothing I respect less than a comic that just does like new faces. Just show up to stir crazy for the open mic, and you never see them in a bad room. You never see them bomb, and you never see them actually like work on their shit. And it's just like that's not how you get good at this.
Yeah, and hearing people do the same joke the same way for 5 or 6 weeks is infuriating. And if you're doing the same joke and it's not working, why have you not changed something?
Right.
The delivery or the wording. Change something, because if it's not working for 6 weeks in a row, and I've heard you do that 5 nights a week for 6 weeks and zero laughs, change the joke.
Yeah.
Change it. And Something I learned recently is like,
Yeah, Chase.
not Chase. Chase is like the opposite. Chase will like look at his videos. Chase is neurotic about his videos. I love him. He'll text me. He'll be like, I watched that and I understand why I didn't get a good score. And I'm like, you're so funny. But no, it's one of those things where it's like, sometimes you're married to something and you love it so much and it makes you laugh so hard, but it's just not working with the crowd and you just have to let it go. And that sucks. God, I hate getting rid of lines that I love. Like, I hate doing that. But if it's not working, it's not working. And doing it the same way over and over, that's literally insanity. You can't do that. Yeah. So that's my big takeaway from the first year is sit down, be humble, rewrite your jokes, listen to yourself.
Yeah.
Which I hate doing. I hate
Everybody hates doing it, but you have to. Devin just came up to me the other day and was like, just started listening to myself. I'm so bad at comedy. I was like, Devin, welcome to the club, buddy.
I love Devin.
Yeah. He's like, I was doing myself such a disservice. I was like, well,
Yeah, that happens. We do that. You got to do it.
It sucks. It's hard.
It's the worst part.
Yeah.
That's the worst part is listening to yourself, especially on a night when you've like bombed and you're like, okay, what happened? Yeah. But then I feel like sometimes though, like you said, at House of Comedy, they just weren't fucking with me. And it didn't matter how funny my jokes were.
Oh, no. I mean,
they did not fuck with me.
I say it a lot. I've been doing this long enough that I'm confident. Like, it's going to sound cocky or whatever.
No, for
it's
sure.
like, I know I'm funny. Like,
right.
I know I am.
The jokes were.
But I don't know if an audience is going to like me.
Yeah, that's all it is.
That's what scares me is sometimes they're going to come out and immediately tell that I'm not what they want to listen to. That I'm going to have weird, different perspectives than whatever it is.
It's funny. I've said that about you. I'm like, Eric is one of those people where the audience is either going to come so hard on this journey with him or they're just going to completely check out. Like,
it happened. I mean, we all are. We all are to some extent. Like, it's the exact same thing that happened to you. They saw your colored hair, and they were just like, she's going to have to be so funny for us to laugh.
And I was like, okay.
Not that it's impossible, but, like, you also went up last, so they were tired.
God, that sucked. After, like, 12 or 13 people going up last, and I was, like, a late add-in. So I didn't bring anyone.
And you didn't even know you were
going up. And I had no idea.
Until,
like 5 minutes before. It's like, okay, cool. Here we go.
But for sure they were tired, and for sure they were just like, oh, cool, we got another colored haired freak coming on stage.
Like, okay. And the guy before me did not do well either. Right. So that didn't help, was that the energy was on the down. It was just a recipe for disaster. But you know what? It's fine. I was there. I did it. I did my stage time. Some people liked me, and that's okay.
Yep. That's how it goes.
Yep.
There's always next year, Sarah.
No more competitions. Thank you.
Really?
I don't like them. I think they're so arbitrary. They're just so arbitrary.
There should be like a laughter box. Makes me mad.
Like, Dietrich had a decibel counter on his phone.
Awesome.
Yeah. Dietrich, the most impartial judge.
Maybe. If he went by it, that would be a pretty good method.
He did go by the decibel box. He's like, I don't know why everyone isn't doing this. And I was like, yeah, good point.
Yeah. That would have.
Can we get a decibel?
I feel like that would have changed the outcome a bit, but it's not my place to comment. I'm not a judge, Sarah.
No, I am not.
I don't know anything about comedy. Turns out. What are we at?
Turns out I don't know shit.
Let's burn a couple minutes here.
Okay.
I don't know what scares you the most about doing comedy.
What scares me the most about doing comedy? I'm always have this fear in the back of my head that I'm not being a good parent. That's my big thing. You know what I mean? Because my daughter's 9. And so there's a lot of nights where I'm out. But at the end of the day, I've spent the last 8.5 years just the two of us at home.
Sure.
All the time.
Yeah.
I've been home every night.
You
know
work
what I mean?
from home, son. That's
it's one of those things where there's always the fear of being a bad parent, but just by virtue of me having that fear, it makes me not a bad. You know what I mean?
That really quells my fears, to be honest. Like, my shit seems so much less serious after that. I'm just worried that this is all it's ever going to be for me.
See, and that's the thing is that Chase routinely asks me, you know, what is your long-term goal in comedy? And for me, it's I don't know. I'm not a big planner.
Yeah.
You know, I am. I really am a big planner in my day-to-day life. Like I like to know where I'm going and what time I have to be there, and I like to know the route. And but long-term, it's like I can't even think that far. I have to
comedy,
get through the week.
You can't
You can't
plan it.
No.
You can't if I could just do whatever I wanted, I would have been Aldo.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's not up to me.
No, it's up to the
at all.
the audiences,
God or whatever.
the universe,
You
fate,
know?
whatever we're calling it.
Yeah.
Unforeseen force.
Because, like, for sure, it's not my decision. I just go out there. It's like, I heard someone explain this, actually. It's kind of a weird concept. But they're like, the reason so many athletes believe in God is because they know how hard they've trained, how hard they've practiced and worked, how many hours, and yet the result is still not up to them.
Yeah,
if it was up to them, they would succeed, every time.
Yeah.
So, like,
you work hard and you train.
There's another, like, thing going on, and that's, like, why they have faith or whatever. And it's kind of the same with comedy in a weird way.
Yeah, I'm not, like, obviously, very clearly not, like, a God person.
Yeah, I hear you.
But, you know, there's definitely forces in the universe, and there's things that you can do to influence. Like, I try to be on my social media game pretty hard. Like, I'm posting flyers, and I'm posting thank you photos, and I'm, tagging people and collaborating. Like, I'm trying to be on my social media game because that is the biggest influence I feel like in being able to blow up.
Definitely.
Like, you get one reel that blows up, that's it, you're done. But I haven't even posted.
Well, kind of, but like,
yes.
I get your point.
You know what I'm saying? It could be one thing and that shoots you on a different trajectory.
It's not that hard to go viral.
Yeah, it shoots you on a different trajectory. Words are hard. English is hard.
Yeah.
Path. Let's say path.
Yeah.
You can go and it changes daily. You never know what's going to happen that day. It only takes one person seeing you at one gig, booking you on something bigger that gets you something bigger, that gets you something bigger. And, like what happened with Celia, she got on Tony.
Right. That's a good example. Exactly.
You never know what's going to happen.
But also, like...
But then it's maintaining that.
Right.
After.
It's also... That's, like, the other point I was going to point out. Like, it took her to where she's at, but, like... She's not like, it's just a jump. It's not like,
now she has to maintain and make the next jump.
And it's never going to be that.
Yep,
for
it's
any
always,
of us.
it's just constantly moving up in the.
I think there's less of that in general, where there's less, you suddenly made it. For sure, these are big jumps you can
leaps,
take.
Yeah.
But,
there's
like, back in the day, there was that. So, like,
before.
Like, the stories you hear about people going to, like, that fest in Montreal and just, like, coming out with, like, sitcom deal, like multi-million-dollar sitcom, because you had a good set at a show.
Wild.
Like, what are you talking about?
But you have to
know
remember,
how many good sets I've had?
All of this is before. Again, this is a social media thing because now, with the internet and social media, we're all connected all the time. There's more of us. You can see more of us all the time.
Totally.
If you apply for something, you can just send them a link on the internet to a set and they can see your set, where it used to be like, oh, here's a videotape, I'm sending it to you in the mail, and you might get it or it might get lost or whatever. It's the age of information. It's so much faster. There's so much more of us, and there's so much content all the time.
Yeah.
That, like, you really have to do something to stand out, or
hard.
Just get lucky. Sometimes it's just about luck and seeing the right people. And, like, no matter how much you hustle and no matter how many open mics you do and how many shows you do, you might not ever get in front of the right people.
Right. Totally.
So make connections with people.
And don't be an asshole.
Don't be a dick.
It's not that hard.
Jesus.
Plug anything you want to plug. Instagram.
My Instagram is @AmIFunnyYetMom, which is a great handle.
Yeah. And it'll all be in the information.
Yeah. That I want to plug Falling Apart, which is the show that Chris Banks and I do. Super great show. We're on hiatus for the summer. We will be doing videos though, and then we'll be back in October live.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because it is hot.
You can't be doing those outdoor shows in the summer.
Absolutely not. I'm trying to think. Go to June Jam. That's going to be super fun. I think that's it coming up for me.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, dude.
Thanks
Super
for having
fun.
me.